I'm Marcy and I am the Ag Advisor and Educator at Holcomb High School. And today we're going to give you a little tour of the Holcomb High School greenhouse. So a greenhouse is used to grow plants all year round, and they use the photosynthesis and the greenhouse effect to get plants to grow even during the winter months. So what you're seeing here in the greenhouse right now are a lot of plants that we started in January and February throughout our classes at Holcomb High School. So in here we're kind of prepping for our plant sale in the spring, which we didn't get to prep as much as we normally would because of the current situation that we're in with the virus. But we did get some tomatoes planted, and we've got tomatoes over here. And tomatoes are a very well-liked vegetable or fruit, whichever way you want to look at it, that people like to eat all year round. So with our tomatoes, we will sell a lot of these plants, and then we put some plants, I'll show you in a minute, that we will have tomatoes all year long and that we share with our FACS class, our Family and Consumer Science class. They use to learn about different nutritional needs and cooking in those classes. Some other things that we've got going on in the greenhouse, we have some herbs started. On this end of the table, we've got some basil and lavender and sage going. And herbs are things that you can start at home in your own kitchens and can be used for cooking. They can be used for different aromas and all sorts of different stuff. People will also dry them out and use them as potpourri. They'll put them in, they have the small crock pots or warmers, and it helps your house smell really good. Other types of things, we've got house plants that help clear the air in your house as well, to help keep the air clean. And plants, that's what's really important with plants, is that it does help keep our air clean, and we know the importance of keeping everything clean right now to keep us protected from the virus, but plants play a huge part in keeping our environment clean. Another thing in the greenhouse that we do with the plants as you're growing plants all year round is our sprinkler system. So my students have put together a PVC sprinkler system that runs on timers throughout the day to water our plants, because it's very important for our plants to have water. And with this sprinkler system, that we just used PVC pipe, everything that you could find at Home Depot or Menards, for all of your sprinkler needs, and it's something that they built. We didn't have to spend a whole lot of money to build this, and my kids got to measure and use math and put things together and do some construction to help make our plants grow. We've got some flowers growing here, and everybody loves flowers, especially this time of year, that we can get out and enjoy the good weather and the beautiful sights and the flowers that we have going on. So we'll kind of move down to some other plants that we've got. Here's some more vegetables. These are different types of pepper plants that you could use and put in your garden. Then moving down, aloe vera. A lot of people are probably very familiar with aloe vera right now. Aloe vera, when you get a sunburn in the summertime, or if you're cooking and you get a burn on your hand, you can take the aloe vera leaf, and I'll just go ahead and break one off here so you can see what it looks like. But inside this aloe vera, there is a gel. And a lot of times you can cut this apart and you can see that gel in there. And when you get a burn on your hand, you can put it on your hand, just kind of like that, right there. And it will help heal that burn. And if you're outside and you get a sunburn, and you can go ahead and use that gel to help heal your sunburn as well. Also, you can use aloe vera for cooking. Right now, a big use for aloe vera is people are making their own hand sanitizer with aloe vera and certain levels of alcohol. They can mix it together and make a hand sanitizer for your hands to help get rid of germs. Okay? But aloe vera is a very popular plant that you can grow inside, or you can grow them outside. If you do grow them outside, they won't last through the winter on their own, but you can dig them up from outside and put them in a pot and put them in your house. And a real cool thing about aloe vera is that it will generate what we call babies, and they'll have little small plants just like this, and you can dig that small plant out of your aloe vera plant, and you can start a whole nother plant that will grow into a big plant, just like you see here. Another cool thing we have going on Some of my students ate a mango one day, and they wanted to see what it would look like to grow a mango. So they did some research and they looked on the internet, and we read a book about what we needed to do to grow a mango seed. So we had to separate the mango seed out from the inside. And the mango seed, when you cut open a mango, you think it's probably real big because it's got that center core in the mango. But this mango seed is really only about this big around. And they planted it in there, and this will grow into a tree eventually. But right now, we've just got it started in a small pot, and then we'll transfer it as it gets bigger, okay? Some of the other plants we've got going, these are called a purple heart vine, and they look really pretty outside when they get going. These are called airplane plants, or you can call them spider plants because they kind of spider out. If you have one of these in your home, these starts right here, you can cut the end of this off and put it in new soil, and it will start a new plant as well. Down here, these are some of the succulents we have going, and if you are wondering what a succulent is a different type of plant that holds water within its leaves. Okay, succulents are very popular this time of the year as people get going, and they're a very popular like office or bedroom or house plant because they don't require a whole lot of sunlight. But they will spread, and they do all sorts of cool things, and they will produce baby plants as well, like this one over here or right here. And you can separate those plants out as well, and they can grow into new plants. I was just talking to Jennifer about this plant here. This is a type of succulent, and it produces babies on its leaves. It makes these little tiny leaves come up over the end, and what you do with those is you can just pick those off just like that, and I've got those little pieces in my hand, and you can put them on some soil just like this, and then this soil will stay damp and it will grow into a new plant just like these ones here. So succulents are very cool. They're very cool to start up, and they don't require a lot of water. Once you get them established, you could water them once a week and they would still flourish through your house or your office or wherever you have them. The next really cool thing about the greenhouse is that in the greenhouse, it maintains a certain temperature all year around. So we try to keep the temperature in here between 70 and 80 degrees all year round. In the winter time, outside, if it's 40 degrees, we can still regulate our temperature because we have heaters. And we have heaters that come on that will maintain that to about 75 degrees in the winter time. In the summertime, if it's like 100 degrees outside, if we didn't have a cooling unit in the greenhouse, it could reach up to 120 degrees inside here, and that is definitely not good for our plants. So we have a cooling system that helps cool off the greenhouse, and it also provides to make humidity. Humidity is when the moisture is in the air and it keeps things damp or moist, okay? So over here on this wall, we have our cooling unit, and I'm gonna show you how this works. So as I turn it on, the water will come up at the top, and it will soak that wet wall that you can see that's already wet. It will soak the wet wall, and on the other side of the wet wall, there are what we call louvers. It's like a fan. It opens up, and it allows for wind to come through. There's fans on the other end of the greenhouse that will open, and it pulls the air through the greenhouse, and it helps cool off the plants. So I'm gonna walk over here. When our cooling unit turns on, the temperature is gauged by these coils on this machine. And when it's set at 80 degrees, when it reaches 80 degrees in here, or 90, depending upon how we set, it will kick on our cooling unit. So I'm going to manually turn it on right now so that you can see what it looks like. What happens is we have water over in the basin, and in this basin there's a pump that pumps the water up through this pipe, and it comes to the top, and the water comes out of the pipe, and it then begins to run down the wet wall. So it's really cool how we can use water to cool down our plants. And then through the summertime, I always put buckets underneath because there is always some drippage. And that way, the water that drips off the cooling unit, I can still use to water other plants, so then I can still recycle that water. And the water will then go back into this tube. Whatever doesn't get caught in the buckets goes back into the tube, and it drains back right into the basin. So essentially the water is pumping up into the cooling unit, it's coming down into this pipe here, and it's going right back in. So we're recycling that water constantly to be used to cool our greenhouse. So we're not using more water, we're just reusing that water over and over and over again to help cool and water our plants.
We'd like to thank Marcy for sharing about the greenhouse here in Holcomb. And right now, since all of you are at home, I'm going to show you a way that you can make your own small greenhouse at home with things that you have. You will need a baggie, cotton balls, water, and seeds of your choice. Some of you may have beans at home. These seeds you can buy at Walmart, garden stores, or whatever, to where you can decide what you want to plant and plant that way. To do this, take 2 or 3 cotton balls, dip them in water, squeeze out all the water that you possibly can. Drop the wet cotton ball in a baggie along with your seed, and then zip it up. Now, the magic thing is you have to have patience. You need to place this in a window in the sunlight so that the condensation or the water that's in your cotton ball becomes the moisture for your seed. This is one right here that I started on Monday, and it has not started sprouting yet, but this way you are also able to see your seeds sprout also. Once they start sprouting and it starts getting leaves, you can take them out and transplant them in soil in different size containers so that you can have possibly food for your family. One interesting point right now, our farmers are in their fields at the moment planting corn. And we all love corn. So these are the seeds right now that farmers are planting in their fields. Thanks for joining us.